Soft one. Do you hear it when I say recording in process?
I do.
Okay, I figured. Cool. Everyone's like, all right. Cool. All right. Hey everyone, welcome to the Shawn Porter Continuum, episode 3. We're shifting titles and themes, but we're here nonetheless with Alvin, aka Smurf from Money Match Gaming. How you doing, man?
And doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. First of all, how are you handling the heat wave here in the Seattle area?
It was almost not recognizable for me.
In what way? Like too hot, just because you're like, I'm in Arizona, but it's green, so it's confusing. What do you mean?
So for part one of like when it first started to heat up, I was like first our apartment's pretty low and whatever, so it doesn't really get that bad in the apartment. So I'm like, oh, it's feeling kind of like summer. And I'm from the Midwest, so like, you know, our summers get like really humid and stuff like that too. So I'm like, oh, this feels like 70 degrees outside right now. When it was like approaching like 80. And then went on a little vacay out to the coast for the most of the heat, for the most extreme days of the heat. So I totally missed like the 100 plus days in the city, where it was about, you know, 85 or something like that on the beach with the wind and the sun and blah 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 blah. And so that was nice, and came back and it was, you know, it was like the very beginning where it's dying back down again. So kind of missed the real spell of it. Handling it well then.
Nice. That's perfect. Yeah, and it's always cold out on the coast, so that was good timing, because I assume you had that planned out for a while.
Yeah,
cool. All right, well, cool, man. Yeah, you know, we have AC that works good enough that it was like, I ain't complaining, you know. So
man, see, no AC here, so it's like,
yeah, yeah, it's one of those ACs where it's like certain rooms are cold, but like our room wasn't, so it's just, you just had to like stay in certain rooms in the house. But yeah, man, cool. Well, let's start off with Money Match Gaming, and you know, let's kind of do a Tarantino. So just a basic Money Match Gaming, and then we'll go into NFTs and esports. So what is Money Match Gaming, just on a macro level?
Yeah, on a macro level, Money Match Gaming is an online centric esports and gaming community. And so that's the most macro level, is that we're this online esports gaming community. We use decentralized technology to self-fund and to be able to hold free to play and enter events. And one of our main goals within our company, like as our goal, is to help others pursue their passions. And so to help people pursue their passions in gaming and nerd-like interest, really, is what we decided, like in our early meetings.
Sure.
And so that created, you know, that involves like art and design and, you know, music and all sorts of different things. People have their own different passions that might not, you know, maybe they're not necessarily the best gamer per se, but they like games of some sort, and they like other things, and you know, they generally have some type of nerd at their core.
Sure.
And we want to help them pursue their passions. You know, life and being able to live shouldn't just be about, you know, work.
Sure.
As it's, you know, normally defined. And so we want to, you know, a big thing of mine out the gate with Money Match Gaming was first converting to Infinite way back in the day, and being like, yo, we need to, you know, build a business that's more leisurely, stuff that you like actually enjoy doing, that you're good at doing.
Right.
You know, and what's that thing? What do we do? What do you like? Like, what can we build together? And it's like, yeah, gaming. And so, you know, started going that route, and how can we turn that passion, that leisurely activity, into something that's fundable and that we can, you know, help others fund with and stuff.
So what would you say is the what part of the journey is Money Match Gaming at right now?
Still startup phase. I say like, you know, I'm like, for me, I'm like, it's like a 10-year startup phase. Is how I see startup phase.
And how many years in are you?
What is this, like 5?
Okay.
Yeah, this is year 5.
So have you sat down with the team? How many people are on the team officially?
There are officially, it's just myself and the Infinite. And then, I guess, 3. I can't say that anymore. Three
Okay, I was
officially
gonna say, I
right now.
see three. I would, if asked, I
But
would say
this
three.
is well, because like because we've always wanted to have like a body of and at different times we might include more into that. We've always wanted to have a diverse body at the head, but also have enough weight in governance from the main heads,
Sure.
that we can make certain decisions that wouldn't lead the company astray, at least until we got to a certain point.
Sure.
And that's kind of like where decentralization really meets with us, where we're like, yeah, it's you want to make sure that something's fine, but then you just want to let people ride. And so yeah, that's kind of our thing with that. But I got iffy with the three thing, because we initially had 4 members of Money Match Gaming. We actually lost 2 of those members. It became the Infinite, myself, and then we decided to fill in his brother as a new third role, who's more of a technician type of role, but he is on we call it like parental sabbatical or leave, or he's yeah, they both have young daughters, and so that is
Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay.
yeah, that's thrown into the mix, and the younger brother has a very fresh young daughter, and so
that's a lot of work, man.
yeah, it's a lot of work, and he's often stay-at-home dad type of deal, so giving him that time with daughter and stuff like that, because allowing people to pursue their passions, so like at work too,
Sure.
it could be a while.
Yeah. Hey, I'm on the opposite end, because I just had a kid graduate, so I'm like looking for projects. It's like got them out of the way, so I've got one more to make sure they graduate, but other than that, we're it's a whole chunk of work gone. Anyway, so how, now that you're saying you're about 5 years into this 10-year plan, do you have like a vision board? Do you have the rest of the timeline planned out? Do you have goals? How are you tackling those sort of things in Money Match Gaming?
Yeah, and so a lot of it's been falling. It's been so funny, like over the last like year or two. Just messaging Infinite back and forth and stuff, and then as his brothers jumped in and like seeing some of the conversation unfold, because I've been saying some of the stuff for like so long, or before we knew about blockchain and stuff like that,
Oh,
and some of it's just like really fallen into place, like the concepts and stuff like that we had, and the ways that we wanted to run things, like from the initially when we wanted to start doing online tournaments back in 2015, and this is like when we were just like planning only.
sure.
But we're like, okay, we want to do tournaments, and then by 2016 we finally hold a tournament, and we put out some feelers to people first and get feedback, and we're like, yeah, how much should entry to the online tournament be? And we get all sorts of feedback where people are like, no, nothing.
Sure.
You're free, or $5 or $20 or $100, or I'm not showing up. It's not worth my time.
Right.
And so like, we're like, okay, so people want enough money for it to be worth their time. But then they also just feel like they shouldn't have to pay because potential for online connections and stuff like that. And along with that feedback, we also got a lot of like really negative feedback about people being like, oh, you guys are scammers and this and that. You just want to take money. And we're like, it was literally just a feeler for feedback to see what you guys thought.
Yeah.
We haven't even held an event yet. So we decided to do, our first event. And our first one was a $5 event. All the money went back to everybody, so we didn't make anything off the event. But the turnout was so small, we were like, we'll just start doing them free and do whatever the heck.
Yeah.
That negative feedback still lives there. But that kind of just like, was like the birth of things in where we just wanted to start doing decided to start doing free events.
Sure.
And that led us to the question of like, how do you fund those free events then consistently, because then it definitely becomes a drain. Like before, we had everything factored in, or it's like, okay, this amount of people, that amount of money, yada yada yada. But when you're just doing a totally free giveaway type of situation every week, multiple times a week, then how do you fund that? Where do you make revenue, especially as a startup, without like this big brand and stuff like that, where people are just, oh, just buy that merch, or you'll get some type of sponsor deal that'll cover that, or whatever the heck funders. This razor deal from people buying my merch because I have so many people on my social, like, we don't have those type of things. And so it was really, how do you figure that out?
Gotcha. Yeah. And so you see a lot of startups kind of accidentally venture into different industries. Do you see the possibility of that? I mean, you said you're kind of here as a hub for creatives, even if it goes beyond gaming. So do you see that having potential?
Oh yeah. Our because other than the free thing, like, as an allusion to like our whole roadmap and knowing our whole roadmap and things just falling into place. Part of it, like, and the idea of artists and gamers, it's to be able to pay people for their passions and, like, to be able to create like an hourly type of wage or something that's worth it for them. And so, like, when we consider, like, when we put on just like a tournament, an esports tournament, it's truly like, when we're thinking about the prize pool, it's like, okay, first place at least, at least first place, how much did they make per hour?
Right.
Like, was it an hourly wage? And we're trying to hit that. And, like, if it's a quicker event, then, like, hopefully they made more, they still made somewhere around that hourly wage within that. And for other players that, aren't so fortunate as to make first place or to top or whatever the heck, we're, we have found ways within our community to at least give them some type of reward, which they can start to stack up. So, like, you didn't, maybe you weren't going to get paid at all, or you barely showed up, you did something for like 10 minutes maybe, actually, but you did well, you get rewarded. And it starts to build. And how that, like, with the artists and how we see that, like, expanding and stuff like that is, the first part of expanding things was expanding to paying more people per hour and stuff, or rewarding more people, in some way. And then the next portion is expanding the game content in general. So, like, expanding our arcade into different games.
Sure.
So our focus
right
is
now,
Smash Bros.
Okay.
Yeah, but we want to do other things, other games. And so our next development that we're currently working on is expanding us into multiplayer games, so that we have a system that allows us to do multiplayer games that's wrapped in with NFTs and stuff like that. And there's a whole thing about it. But there's that, and along with that comes a portion of the development that allow us to, other than games, different communities, because just different access levels with the NFT integration and stuff like that. So different access levels that are basically gated or carded, with these NFTs. That'll occur in our Discord as well as in other, we want to also be able to branch this out into other Discords, be able to basically rent out or loan out the Money Match Gaming technology for our Discord bot to other servers, for certain NFT holders.
So before we get into the NFTs fully, I just have to ask, because I think about this now, that one thing that seems to be a hurdle in a lot of these cases is the learning curve to get either onto a blockchain, or to, even for what you guys are doing, you're doing it within Discord. I assume if you could, you'd have a website that you owned, where you had all of this programmed into something. So is that also something you're looking to be able to kind of go away from third parties, or somehow make this more accessible? Because there's still a lot of hurdles to getting signed up for Money Match Gaming. No.
So there's still a lot of hurdles, there's and we're always working on cutting down those hurdles, and finding out different ways. But the hurdle that we currently have, which is really just like creating a DLive that, you have two accounts. You need a Discord account. We chose Discord versus we had a website, and we had tons of traffic going to our website all the time. Actually, it was actually insane. Like, we look at like a Sunday and it'd be like, this one web page had 35,000 traffic on this Sunday.
Interesting. Okay, so what happened? What was the
what happened was, the traffic was nice and stuff like that, but what we found was the website just wasn't what we wanted it to be. And the limitations of the website, things like truly integrating a chat in a way that wasn't too costly. Because having a chat on a website, having certain elements on a website, certain video features and stuff like that on a website, on your actual own website, other than some type of whatever the heck. And if you're using something third party like Weebly, then there's other restrictions, but that's costly. And so it was trying to figure out how we could get this chat integration and all these other elements that are continuously being and if it's open source, then great. And so we found Discord, and we were like, okay, so we could just pop a Discord on our website, but that's a little janky for now. We found some things that allow you to do it, but it was a little janky for now. But what we did just really feel is that gamers seemed to gravitate toward Discord. It was still new
Sure.
when we were originally messing with it. It was, and I was like, do I really want it? Some of my friends that play like PC games were really trying to get me to use it all the time.
Yeah.
But hopped over and I really started to like it. And then I started to notice that, Smash Bros had tons of different Discord servers for it and stuff. And it just kind of stuck and it made sense. You have the chat features, you have the ability to do all sorts of, customizations. And it performs better for a community for us than a website. Like we can put a lot of the information that we want on a website on the Discord server, via different pages as channels. And some channels people just can't type in. It's just a page that you read, and it's free. And so that's why we decided to go with Discord, because we had that chat feature. We were allowed to build upon it. It had less restrictions than a website. Obviously, it didn't have the nice, clean, that you want on a website or whatever. But it saved us money. It was also at a time we were cutting back a lot. I made the decision. I made the decision to cut a lot of cost in a lot of different areas, and we were really just compounding our earnings from DLive.tv and other cryptocurrency things at the time. And I just wanted to make sure they cut all costs, and we're just focusing on building up money.
So if there was eventually there'll be because Discord's pretty good at updating and coming up with new features. So eventually they'll have a way to bake it into a website that'll make it very user friendly and intuitive. And that would be a positive in your eyes. You'd probably implement that into a website then.
Right. Yeah. So we'll probably be implementing a website in the near future, because we're able to put that back into our plan now. Like where it wouldn't be our focal, but I see the value in, and it's always had its value, but just an ability, especially now with our NFTs, and explaining a few things a little bit different, and just giving another search engine option, honestly. So just in that sense, and in making information even more clear and just different ways for people to digest things, we will be having a website that helps with those things. And yes, like you were saying with Discord integration, there are some apps and stuff like that, third-party things that already let you do that. And then you can always like sync up buttons and stuff like that with like functions or something, if you want to get really technical with it. But yeah, there just hasn't been anything directly from Discord, but I believe they're acquired by Microsoft now, so that could be coming very soon.
I'm sure they're looking into it. So let's go into non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Fungibility, if you don't understand, it's basically, if I give you $5, you can give me back $4, $5, $1 bills, and it still counts as the same. Whereas art and other things like that are non-fungible. How is Money Match Gaming using these NFT tokens?
Yeah. So at Money Match Gaming, we are using NFT tokens, or just NFTs, and in a few different ways. The main way that we're currently using NFTs is as a way of tracking stats for our esports events. For a new series that we started. And so that's some of the value that we see in NFTs, other than art, because yes, they are, you can do art with them and whatnot, but they're also, it's documentation. And it, the same way that why is the Jack Dorsey tweet worth blah, 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 but it's documentation. That was the point of it. And that's what they were trying to convey with that, where it's it's not really art, guys. You can call it art, but it's documentation. And if you look into things enough, there's cases of, I believe it's Taiwan, or there's some other South Asian countries that have already used NFTs, in 2020, I believe it was, or it was way before this big art hype and stuff like that. And they're using this for sending documents, because they can do certain things, gate certain things, do whatnot, and send this information in a packaged way to somebody, and then you can burn it. And so they were using it for documentation. And so we're using NFTs currently for documentation of our esports events, where we're able to do things like include a description of the event, who won the event, top 8 for the event, win-loss ratio versus certain players, etc., links to the event, as well as provide some art on the event. And then this is all packaged and in a commemorative form or a collectible form that's rare, and so it has that collectible sense to it as well, and it's for us a way of collecting statistics. So that's what we're doing with that. And other than that, that portion with it, we also want them to have some utility within Money Match Gaming, where they'll be used within our Discord. Like, again, our Discord is our community hub and what we call our arcade. And we want them to have some utility within there as ways for people to earn tickets, and just as a whole, we just want to work without like going too deep right now, just really work them into the arcade as far as access to certain servers or tiers, earning certain things, that type of thing, where having an NFT actually benefits you in some way in the arcade, depending on the rarity or the specific of that NFT.
So if I'm using MMG, I'm participating in some of the tournaments. Does how I finish in a tournament or anything like that affect my being able to purchase it? Or is it that the winner gets a certain NFT?
Yeah, there it is. So we've been right now, what we've been doing is, I wanted to just, because I see the value in doing it first for stat tracking period. Sure. And so the other fun part that comes along with that is launching a collection, or your NFT, and how do you do that, and how do you market it, or whatever? How do you get it out to people? How many is too many? Some people, you see tons of situations of people making a 1 of 1 NFT or 1 of 5 or something like that, and we're like, we want it to be like a collectible. We imagine like Pokemon cards or something like that, of different players and stuff like that, but also more rare situations. And so for me right now, it's and we're calling our current series NFT Weekly, and we're in beta of NFT Weekly.
What's NFT Weekly again? What is that referring to?
A weekly Smash Bro, or it's
gotcha.
It's a weekly, which is just what you call like it's not like a whole month before or 2 months before the next event,
right?
But Smash Bros online tournament, where the top players get NFTs that are trophies to commemorate the event. And then which this is what I was just getting to, is that you kind of get to create like a game of the release if you want. So if you want to create NFTs with more utility. So a lot of NFTs that people see on the Ethereum blockchain, and they don't have to be this way, but a lot of them are the case where it's just, it's a one of one NFT, right? Or it's a 2 of 1, or whatever the situation. And maybe it's that one specific piece of art. That's what people are so hype about with the Beeple stuff, this 1 of 1 type of art NFT. And that's cool. But then what's that's truly just for art. And it doesn't necessarily have any other utility unless somebody decides to use that NFT inside of their game or something like that, which they can do. You can port it to something else potentially, if it's worked that way. But what we're specifically doing is thinking about that off the gate. How do we port it into other things? How do we port it into our arcade? How do we utilize it in that sense? And so initially from our NFTs, for the top players, they get a trophy type of NFT, which is like golden or silver or bronze. And it's rotating and sparkly and doodad, and it's, you won this event, you're special, and you get access to other special events for being special. And then for everybody else, there is a more basic version of this NFT. And what they can do, and it's it's a card form, and it's what they can do with that is they can upgrade that. So you get this one, and then if you have this card NFT, this more basic NFT, and another NFT in the Money Match Gaming ecosystem, our tokens NFT, then you can merge those two together and create a more rare version of that card. And there's only so many of those more rare versions, and then we'll utilize those more rare versions for something else. And so that's just like, again, we're in beta with this, but the fun of it is just, it's you get to create these games, and I like
gamifying it.
Yeah, gamifying it. I like and I'm like, I'm gonna hop right in, because, and let people know it's beta and this and that, and people were totally fine with that. People were happy enough to just claim that, and we launched them for free. The players get them for free, obviously, and then the community, when we launched them in general for wax, we could have made, put a price on them. We were like, oh, we'll just give away some for free, because it's, for us, it's like, that's also promotion. I'm like, it's a promotion of a Smash Bros event on the front page of wax and stuff, like, of this blockchain marketplace, if I give a bunch of them away for free, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about it that way. And it's, what does it cost me, like $2 to have thousands of people own these things? Because if I make only one person can own one, then thousands of people end up claiming these things for free, for
cheaper
like
than a
$2.
Facebook ad.
Yeah, cheap, exactly. Literally what I was thinking. I'm a marketer, so I was like, this is the cheapest advertising I found in a while. And so I was all about that. And other than that, I was very pleased to notice that it paid for itself, actually, because there was a secondary market value of it, because people could play the little game and upgrade their cards. And so some people, like the rarest mints, like the number one mints, just people don't want to let them go in general and stuff like that, putting really high value on them. And then people want to play the game for the stats anyways, just random people. And then they're selling the tokens to the ones you need to merge them together and stuff like that, so they could do it quick enough, if they wanted to do it. And because it's not costing them much or whatever. You can get this from a lot of free wax games and stuff. And but it ends up, as a creator, you put a little royalty fee on it and pay for itself.
Right. And we'll see instances of that in some of these stories we're on. Well, I could talk about this with you all day, so we'll just have to have you on for another episode, because obviously I'm very interested in it, more of the creative side. So when I'm able to see people that share those creative interests with me doing something cool with a business, I'm all on board. So very cool what you're doing over there. Going into esports just more generally, there's lots of different ways to use it. People are always worried about IP and issues around that, but you guys doesn't sound like you're doing anything that's going to have any issues with that. Everything is original and you're using it within your own ecosystem, so it's not really something you're worried about. But how do you think MMG's role in esports is unique? Because it is unique, right? There's not, let me put it this way, what's the do you have people that your what's the term I'm looking for, that are your rivals in this market on this level of esports?
I have yet to find a community, an esports community, that's quite doing. There are some specific blockchain communities that are more like guilds, that are doing their blockchain gaming thing. But they're not necessarily part of like the that I've started to see, but they're not necessarily, and they're like large, like Faze clan type large. So those might start becoming more mainstream in the next few years. So I'd watch out for those. But I haven't seen anybody who's like truly taking on, like, within those, though, those blockchain people kind of like have like a tendency to like want to stay away from traditional esports type stuff. So I haven't seen anybody who wants to really merge the two, like Money Match Gaming, or that is combining things like DeFi, and the free elements and stuff like that, the rewarding on mass of participation in events, whether it's NFTs or tickets, which you can then use those tickets to claim, a gift card or cash or crypto, whatever a prize, NFT. But I haven't seen anybody really doing those type of things, especially like most entities that we find in esports that are doing something like that, it's when I do my monthly research on esports and funding and stuff like that, it's look for these funding opportunities from these people, look for this grant from that person, do this and that, blah 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 blah. You have to apply for this, you have to do that, you have to sell merch, you have to get a funder, angel investor, blah, like that type of stuff.
Sure.
Otherwise esports is at a deficit and blah blah, and so I haven't found any others that are actually able to again start from like none of those investments, start from a blog post, and build up thousands of dollars and be able to pay for events weekly, and do it grassroots and continue to do it for free. I haven't found any of those type of communities that are like, like we even see like Panda Global, and they can't, like, it's one of the biggest fighting game like esports teams, and so they can't do free online weekly tournaments like you guys. Like, shots at Panda Global.
Okay.
You guys want to?
This is okay. So this is good.
Not even $5.
So would you, in Infinite, accept or entertain offers of a buyout?
Of a buyout?
Or
I don't think so.
Or would someone wouldn't even need to. Why couldn't these guys, as soon as you get a little steam, come out and be like, I'm Shark Tanking you right now? Oh, can't this be copied? Can't the big guys with more money go, oh shit, this turns out this is a good idea?
That's what we've
You
been
did
saying
all the work, bro. Thank you,
That's what I've been.
Smurf. You did all the work. We're gonna go ahead and
Hey, that's part of Money Match Gaming, is that I've been saying that in our live streams for years, like trying to, that's what we want to do. Like, it's not even a competition in that sense, where it's like, where you're like, is there competition out there? And I'm like, I haven't found it, because I've been trying to coach it.
Okay.
You know, and like the closest is maybe A&G community, where they actually pay attention and we collaborate and stuff like that, because, you know, their community leader is open-minded enough. And they're another small grassroots esports community that's known, that has helped, you know, facilitate some youth in Smash Bros and bring them up to a high level. And that's something that Money Match Gaming has prided ourselves on doing, where we'll find somebody, and, you know, IRL events haven't really been taking place lately, but we're going to send them to that IRL event, and we can't wait to do it again. Right. You know, like a lot of these people, you know, they don't have the money to go to, you know, $400 or $500 to go to this whatever the heck place as a 18, 20-year-old, whatever. It's hard. But we can do that. We can put you there, and we can put you in that light. And those players that we sent off they're pros now. Okay. Like they're both considered pros. You know, one of them top 100 smash, like, it's like, yeah. So like, we're going to continue to do that. And I see this other community is continue to do that, but I see a bunch of other, I don't see a lot of competition in that, unfortunately. But yeah, again, like, we want to teach people to, when you say like, yeah, could they come? They should. I often rage about the fact that they're not, because it would be so much better for the entire esports community if you would pay attention. Okay. Yes, if you would pay attention. I was saying it and then eventually I had to stop, like, visiting, you know, Smashers and stuff like that, and like their and, you know, the Twitches and stuff like that, and just being like, you know, suggesting stuff, like, yo, just check stuff out. I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to get banned in this chat or nothing like that. I'm just vibing. I was just vibing for like 5-10 minutes so that I could say, check this out. Right. You know, just trying to put you on. Trying to put you on, like, and it'd be like a free money opportunity, and people just don't pay attention. Like, I never try to scam anybody. I never try to have them put their information and shit like that. I'm like, well, if it's a free op, it's a free op. And like, you know, but do your own research. You have to do your own research. But like, if it's a free op, it's a free op. And I've always, like, back in the Steam days with DLive and Steam, it, you know, the $40 post and stuff like that, was reaching out to folks. You know, we use that $40 to, it's funding everything right now, bro. Right. Like, shoot.
So the intersection between esports and traditional sports, first thing that comes to mind for a lot of people is NBA Top Shelf. They got in one of the, I think they're probably the first major league sports, to, at least in America, to get in on this.
I'm like, so rare. FIFA, did they beat them?
I don't know. FIFA does it too, though. Yeah, FIFA. Okay, so point being that this is cool, because I grew up collecting sports cards. This is the digital equivalent of that, as far as I'm concerned, and it's even more cool because you're going to get videos, you're going to get specific instances. It was usually just a card, and maybe if the card was a really popular event, you'd be like, yeah, that was the time. But now it's going to all be documented in the NFT. Very cool stuff. You're seeing it from other places. I assume lots of these things you could use in esports as well. Highlights, player cards, like you were mentioning. There's also the UFC is kind of trying to make moves on this. There's another fight organization called One Championship, who's especially interesting to me, because they are international, but they also have One Esports. The owner's big on esports. So this is a guy that owns one of the biggest international martial arts organizations, and he's building up an esports thing. So I'm like all in on One International, I believe it's referring to. Any insight on sports NFTs and how that's driving or
Oh man, see, like, now sports NFTs, you got my heart pumping, because like, I feel like esports NFTs are dope, and I like it, but it's also difficult, and it's difficult because of copyright infringement. It's difficult because of copyright infringement, because
Because
of
you're the
fan
games.
art, the games, etc.
Okay.
And so technically, you can't do fan art and stuff like that, and like you can't be having like they have a licensing for, you need the licensing to pump certain ones of these out. And so the ability for, especially for something like Smash Bros, where they're really the game and the company itself and Nintendo is really far behind in esports and doesn't usually help out the Smash Bros scene. If anything, they
Okay.
shut things down.
Really?
You know, especially when it's not just held by them. And we saw that with Halo. We see that consistently. We saw that with Overwatch. We see these companies, they don't like to help out if they're big enough and stuff like that. And so with esports specifically, you have to be smart. And so like, and so that's why with us, the player cards is a good one to go after, and collaboration with an artist or the actual likeness of that player and getting the sign off in that way
Right.
is a lot easier of an approach. Or like the way that we're doing it, which is our own art on the card of whatever type.
Right.
Some of these might have comics soon on them, but our own art of whatever type on the card that's nothing to do with the game and stuff like that. And then you can link to the game. You can provide QR codes. You can do other things like that. Provide ways to documents and stuff like that that have special access to those things. But getting smart with it in that way that totally disconnects the NFT from that. But to the other port, with sports itself, because I don't want to touch, because that's really what got me. Sports itself, though, I think is way more cool for it, just because you have the ability, especially with things like MMA. I think of like college sports. I think of high school sports, with like high school, like rising stars and stuff like that, and states and stuff like that, when they're doing the rankings and shit like that through AAU and shit. That's what I think about.
Yeah, if you see someone on the come up and you're like, bro, that guy's
like
Slam,
Slam,
the
like,
NBA, dude.
like
I'm getting this now,
it's
right?
like the new Slam magazine type of stuff, but with NFTs and stuff, because like those are situations where you actually can take that footage, or take that likeness of somebody, whether it's MMA or these other things. Those are situations where you can a lot easier, similar to like a player card, go in, get that likeness, sign off or whatever the heck, give that person royalties even, as high as or whatever the heck, and they're becoming known and stuff, and it's just documentation, and it's more useful. And so I think that's a really big market and like huge. And like we have a guy who goes around to MMA events here at Money Match Gaming, and I was talking to him, trying to talk to him recently, like, yo, we need to be reaching out to these boys, talking about we need to get in there like during the let's get a fight.
Which member
get
of Money Match Gaming
session
is into MMA? Because I mean, I don't know why I haven't been introduced to this guy yet, Smurf. You're not doing your proper.
No, he's like more of our music technician guy, with connections and stuff like that. But he also does his own. We do some consulting for him, and he does his own MMA.
Is he around here?
Check out Fighter IQ.
Okay.
Is who I'm talking about.
We've talked about
Ron G with Fighter IQ.
Okay. Is he local then?
To the West
Seattle
area. He's down in, last that I knew, he's down in California. So.
Oh, okay. West Coast anyways. Cool. Where was I going with this? I was just gonna mention on a side note. So couldn't, in theory, Nintendo or a company like that say, okay, here's the template of an NFT that automatically has written into it the licensing deal, whereas so whatever you make on top of it, your fan art, X amount will automatically go to the trademark holder.
Yeah,
that could happen, like a smart contract of some sort. Okay, all right. So it's just they're not seeing it. So I wonder, are they connected with traditional banking and finance in a way where they can't take that leap without it hurting the business? That must be part of it, right?
I don't think so, because others are doing it. Like you look at, I just saw one. So Marvel is a funny one, where I saw two situations of Marvel. I saw a fan created situation, I'm pretty sure, of Marvel on the Binance Smart Chain, where they're going to be doing like fan art and stuff. Like some of these people are just like risking it for the biscuit, where they're like, fuck it, come after me on the blockchain. Right. And I'm like, I ain't about that life, but y'all go ahead and do that.
They make a martyr out of it.
Yeah, I'm like, because like people make fan art in real life, so they're like, come at me then. And I'm like, all right, that's what you want to do, then but they're doing their thing with that one. But then there's more licensed projects, just like Top Shot, and that one, what I would mention will be Vivi Ikomi, if you're familiar, and that's a AR VR NFT coin as Ikomi, and then application and NFTs that are all licensed. And so they have the licensing for big brands. They have Powerpuff Girls, they have Batman, they have all of Marvel coming and stuff like that, which they recently announced. They have Ghostbusters, and they've only been slowing down Ghostbusters to wait for the movie. I'm pretty sure they want to release the things around then. You know, so like I have like some rare Joker and Harley Quinn ones that I bought early on. I just like discovered the app. It's like I was like, oh, and I was like, I remember like laying in bed and chilling with Bay and being like, oh, you know, I'm going to buy some of these up. They're like $20. You know, I'm like, you know, maybe one day, you know, I can sell one or two and it'll pay for rent or something like that.
Right.
And I was just like, you know, skimming around, you know, there's tons, everything was still available. 4 days later, like somebody mentioned it on YouTube, everything sold out in the damn app. Everything gone, everything gone. Like I was like, the things that I bought, I was so happy I bought some duplicates and stuff. Right. Like, oh, what about if I want to sell one day or something? I don't want to let go of this one. I actually like it. It looks cool. I can blow it up and like you can, like when you got the Pillsbury Doughboy type of thing from Ghostbuster and you can make it 100 feet tall over a skyscraper in Seattle, you want to keep it maybe. You know, put it in the picture. So it's like, it's cool stuff for me, and they're going to be integrating it to other games and stuff. The guy who created Vivi like is a very big fan of Ready Player One, so he wants to do his whole own what do they call it, the multiverse and stuff like that with it, and like integrate it maybe with engine and stuff like that if these other blockchains will play. But they've got the licensing to, you know, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Street Fighter, all of these big things, you know, Back to the Future, they launched the DeLorean and stuff like that. And so yeah, there's some really cool ones and projects, just the point of like, yeah, projects that have the licensing that are actually doing it the correct way and stuff. But that's a little bit harder. And Nintendo just notoriously does not play ball.
Interesting. Okay. Well, another cool project, NFT project, is Stoner Cats. Mila Kunis, who, you know, from Family Guy and 70s Show and all sorts of different things, was recently on Conan late night talking about Stoner Cats, the first NFT animated collection. Let me see here. And I thought that was cool because she's basically doing something anyone can do. They're releasing content attached to an NFT, using it to fund their creative endeavor. I mean, it's what MMG's doing. It's what, you know, it's the basic formula. And I think it's just cool that someone that's that popular is launching something. So she's able to get booked on late night and talk about it. I think it adds relevancy to not only crypto in general, but, you know, NFTs specifically. So have you heard about this at all, Alvin?
I have not. This is my first hearing about the Mila Kunis and Stoner Cats, but you know, I guess good on her. Hopefully it's you know, hopefully the project has the right intent and stuff with it. Right. Because I feel like, you know, some people are just money hungry and stuff like that, or just blah 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 blah. Yeah. Well, but you know, like, you know, I feel like, you know, any dabbling, go ahead, and everybody's got to learn. And I feel like that's really what these celebrities and stuff like that, people that are getting interested in right now, like similar to where I was like, you know, we're gonna jump in and beta, let people know that we're experimenting and stuff. And everybody's not at the same. Everybody doesn't know as much. Everybody's at different levels. I don't know as much as somebody knows in blockchain. Somebody in blockchain doesn't know as much as me. But when you dabble and you experiment and stuff like that, you know, it teaches you more. And you start to find more. And so I'm not gonna hate on that. If it was like Ethereum or something like that, I'm running mine on Wax. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you running them on Ethereum, you killing the environment. Oh, yeah, don't be one of those guys. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna. There's gonna be winners. There's gonna be losers. Yeah, I'm gonna run mine on Wax right now, so that, you know, we kill that. And also, it's easier for our community as far as accessing a wallet. You know, the wallet creation is instant with the Wax blockchain. You know, they can use their Google, their Discord, their Twitch, and it instantly creates them a wallet. They can get the private keys later, but it's a custodial wallet that they have linked to that account. So it's like super easy and onboarding, and then they can do free transactions and stuff like that because they give them a little tiny bit. This is just easy versus you need some Ethereum. Otherwise, you never move in that NFT.
Exactly. I agree. It was confusing when I first went and figured that out. But yeah, I agree. Usability, ease of use is huge right now, because I think it's what that, and just all the kind of myths and the notoriety of crypto to like the general population. Those are the two major hurdles. But this thing specifically, her husband, Mila Kunis's husband, is Ashton Kutcher, who's been an advocate of crypto for years now. I don't know how many, but I've known that Ashton Kutcher was,
I mean, Ashton's he's a solid guy.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's a solid guy.
So, she was like, I was kind of skeptical at first, but Ashton doesn't shut up about it. Like, I've heard this story before from her. So it says viewers will purchase NFTs, which will be used to access tokens. Funds raised will go forward, funding future episodes. She will voice one of the characters. I believe this was June 18th was from referencing this article, and it says users will be able to purchase the NFTs and then use them to access the comedy cartoon online. Each episode will be about 5 minutes long, and purchase of the tokens go for funding of future episodes. I was looking for a date. The animators involved have connections to Toy Story 2, the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man movie, and Space Jam: A New Legacy. That must be
the new one, I guess.
No one watched that. Did we say that? I didn't. Is that
Is it out yet?
I don't know, dude. Okay, I love the original. I was into that. Anyways, so after hearing it from her husband, she took a deep dive and decided to start this creative endeavor. So again, everything you said, more power to her. Her heart seems to be in the right place. She seems to be a believer. And if it's good content, that's the other thing. You go on some of these places, man, and it's not that good of content. So it's like, oh, great. I'm on Hive. I'm on Steam. Where's the good content? And it's not, it's like bottom of the barrel shit. So this is good in a lot of ways.
Oh, I see this type of model taking over, like, honestly, like this type of NFT launching and stuff like that. I was talking to, because, I'm working on some other projects with some filmmakers and stuff like that, where we're going to decentralized route and stuff. But I see this as like the potential new model that would take over, like, for production companies and stuff like that. Or you consider like a Netflix and stuff like that, and subscriptions and stuff like that. Access to free. Because I'm like, when you're talking about, and it's free. And so we're talking about like the way that a TV channel exists and creates viewership and stuff like that. But there's some people paying for something along the way, because they want to own something. Maybe you want to own, like, or a movie, like that's playing on TV all the time for free, but people are paying for it still, right? And if they want to own it, and maybe people don't remember that like that exists, but that exists. Same way with music, people are still buying it. And so, like, we're going to have that exact same thing, and I think it's going to be through NFTs, and I think that'll also produce a whole new layer of production companies and entities that create new types of content and stories, because they can now, and they have a followership, a viewership that allows them to do that. And so, you'd always go out there and just view it for free somewhere, most likely, but then you can also own that.
You kind of just blew my mind, because my daughter's 15, kind of what's old is new again. So she's buying albums, and she has a record player. But now I could easily see that easily transferring over to her buying NFTs of those albums.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to get artists to, like, I'm like, I want to launch an artist as an NFT album. I'm like, that's why partially why I'm practicing. I'm like, somebody's got to know how to do it. I know how to do it. I know how to do it and be upgradable. I know how to do it as packs. I know how to do it on multiple blockchains. I'm like, I'm like, somebody's got to be there to, like, because, like, you don't want to, like, I want to launch my album as an NFT. How do I do it right? I'm like, let me take the pressure off of you, especially if it's gaming related. Come home.
Yeah. Come under my wing. I will take care of you.
Let's go. We're just here for you.
So this is kind of relatable. Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt album has been
the Dame Dash.
Yeah. So there was controversy, and then they kind of went another way with it. So the controversy originally was one of the owners of the album, or the co-producer, I believe, was trying to sell an NFT of the actual album, which apparently he didn't have the rights.
Yeah, I believe it was like, the rights, like kind of like the shares to that album or whatever.
Exactly. So that's interesting just right off the bat, because that's something I think is what we've been talking about, it, that who's got the rights to sell it. He might have had credit on it, but that doesn't mean it's his to give away the copy of. And so that's either shadiness or people just not understanding the tech. Benefit of the doubt, you don't understand the tech, you're not trying to get over on people. But nonetheless, Damon Dash was sued because of that. Rockefeller claims that the label owns the rights to the album and not Dash, therefore he can't make money off the auction, obviously. But what they ended up doing instead was they commissioned someone to redo the album art, and they went ahead and made a digital piece off of that from the 1996 album and ran that on Sotheby's auction house. So this again, kind of people, in hip hop and interested in that aren't going to necessarily always see this sort of story, but maybe they click on it. So I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I thought this is a really interesting one, especially it's been running for a few days now. And like watching this whole thing unfold, I feel like a week or so, honestly.
It's been
and so seeing it from different viewpoints now and hearing different people's takes and stuff on it, because we watch this or that segment, somebody's gonna mention it. It does a little. I feel like the most interesting take that I heard on it was that this sounds straight up like some normal hip hop industry shit, but in crypto.
That's fair. That's fair.
Where they're like, "Yo, beef in hip hop,
beef out of nowhere,
beef in hip hop in the same house." It's the same house beefing in hip hop that still comes out in profit within a week because you somehow created the content and
yo, bro, you ain't got rights to that. Check the ledger, son.
And then made some type of deal with Sotheby's and released it within a week.
Yeah,
that is true. Really, it becomes really sketchy. Like the more you think, it's like that is such a short timeline from release of story to all that unfolding. Like if you were actually going to be doing the work and like correcting the work and this and that, it's like, and so like, I'm like, I don't know.
It's a spite NFT.
Yeah, it's like, so like one side I heard was like, oh, maybe Dame was trying to like pressure Jay-Z into making one. And then I'm like, yeah, but if he was gonna pressure him into making one, how is it done within a week? I'm like,
true.
I'm like, it's not done within a week. It's not done within a week.
So they had it lined up.
Yeah, so it's already being worked on. It's already being worked on, and the storyline came out, and it was all wrapped up within a week. With Sotheby's and Verb. I'm like, and this big company auction house just got involved within a. Come on, man.
That's true.
It's too perfect. It's a perfect storm, and so it could be. It is what it is, but it also sounds like the hip hop industry taking jabs in crypto the way they usually do in media.
They know. That's why that music part of the music industry is so.
Good what they do.
Yeah. That's why rock is dead and hip hop's alive and well. All right, man. Well, there we go. That's the Continium, more or less. Thank you for coming along, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll for sure do this again. I like bothering you, figuring out, holding your feet to the fire with that MMG stuff. I asked the hard questions. I'm sure you didn't expect all those. But I was gonna spend like 5 minutes on it and we'll go into the other shit. And then I'm like, question after question, man. Very cool stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, love talking with you, and letting people know about, because again, the question of you hear the competition and no, not really, but we'd like to see a lot. I'd like to see a lot more. I have seen other organizations starting to do like an NFT thing from some of the top teams and stuff like that, Team Solo Mid and stuff like that. But like, I don't hope that their heart's in the right place with it, because if not, we're gonna be launching tickets to your events anyways. SmackDown.
Exactly. Yeah. Gotcha, bro. All right. Smurf, thank you so much again. Guys, check out Money Match Gaming. What's the best place to dlive.tv/Money Match Gaming? That's right, best place to go. And then you can sign up there, find out where to go into the Discord and all that, and get going on your Smash tournaments. Hopefully soon you'll be implementing new games and all that. We'll have you back on next time you've got some news to discuss for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man. Have a good rest of your day. Talk to you soon.
Bye. See you later. Bye.
Soft. Do you hear it when I say